That's what you've been working on this whole time, Levi.
Well, no, yes and no. I was reading it, then I was like, yeah, the hell with it. We're gonna sit here. I'm just gonna make a bumper sticker for everybody to run on their cars now.
What did you make? Hold on. What is this?
Dave's gonna laugh for 20 more minutes.
Dude, this is tight. I'm gonna print this out.
Dave's trying to look his best and not die of laughter.
Everyone's gonna be like, what is that?
This is great, bro. Racing for Gronda.
I'm a Formula One fan.
It's an inside joke. I love inside jokes.
Okay, can I start? Can I just go into this? Can we start? All right. Going to some NASCAR. Because it's the best ever. So anyways, I just want to let Norman know that the bow ties are now 4 for 4. William Byron is now 2 for 2 on wins. The only car that broke and caused a caution was a Ford. No, I'm just kidding. Although some crazy stuff did happen though. So stage 1 and 2 went caution free again. I'm starting to see a recurring theme with that. I feel like it's pretty hard to mess up stage 1 because nobody's really doing anything crazy.
You think it's because they're afraid?
Sorry?
You think it's because they're afraid of the car?
I don't know about afraid of the car or like afraid of losing it or anything. I just don't think it's worth it to push in stage 1. There's really nothing to gain. I mean, yeah, you can get some stage points near the end, but really there's no reason to push. We almost had a caution-free stage 2 as well, actually. It was like right near the end we got a caution, so I think I think we went green with like 5 or 10 laps left in the stage.
Can I ask a quick question right there?
Yes, sir.
So the stage racing, like without cautions, is that good or bad for the sport?
I'm going to say bad.
I'm not saying that you want a wreck fest. I'm not saying that. But the wrecks do, I mean, that's the action, right? I mean, that's when the announcers get all like, whoa. You know, this and that.
They're wrecking.
Good saves.
They're wrecking.
Yeah, like, and if you do that without, like, between stages, because I know, it happened with William Byron last time when he won, he just dominated and there was no caution between the second or the first stage and, second stage. I don't know. All I'm asking, I guess, is it breeding better racing? Because that's what it was supposed to do. Pack them back up, and get them back together. Or is it something that maybe everybody's just jockeying for position? Well, we've had this thought before, where you jockey for position at the front to win the stage, or you jockey, don't worry about jockey for position, get better pit strategy.
I'd like to say that I would want stage cautions completely gone. Personally, like even if we get more boring races out of it, I understand why they're here, but I don't think they necessarily are the worst thing in the world for 1.5 miles. Like the 1.5 miles seem to be usually like back in the day they were pretty caution free until like the end anyways. Like it was pretty hit or miss. So
yeah.
My opinion.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is my opinion. And I would say I think it should, like, if you're gonna have a clean stage, I'd be more pissed to be William Byron and get a clean stage and then have them stack the field up right behind me under a caution than I would skipping the stage and running and being able to keep extending my lead if I'm doing that well. Looking at it from a racer standpoint, if you have more cautions during the race or during the stage, it's like I didn't pull away. I didn't really get that long run feel to see if I'm still pulling away at the end of the long run. So I think they're bad for racing.
I think stages have always been bad, like since they've implemented, let's be honest, like they haven't really done anything to change the racing. I wouldn't mind seeing them as much as this is going to piss some people off. I wouldn't mind seeing them stay at the plate tracks. Honestly, the plate tracks are brutal sometimes. Like they just single file line. Like they'd be running 195 laps at Daytona single file if they could. It's just not worth it anymore to go side by side with cars that can't do it. I think a lot of people have learned to like there's really no point in battling prior to the end of the race, especially for like the 500. I mean, Dega and the second round of Daytona, I guess, got something in line too, playoffs, but it's not really worth it.
I could get behind that
for Daytona.
I could get behind only the plate tracks having stages.
Yeah, I could see that.
But I would like to see them do stages without caution. I think it should just be like that lap, top 10 get things, but you keep racing.
Yeah, I don't know if that would work though. Still, because I feel like it would just breed a caution anyways, because you'd be pushing really hard to get those points. Like maybe not necessarily at like non-plate tracks, but and I know
Well,
they're
I'm
not
just-
plate tracks anymore. But I'm just gonna keep calling them that because that's what they are to me.
That's
But
I
don't
would
think it would
say
work.
at plate tracks. Just at plate tracks, run them in whatever, lap 30 at Talladega. I think that's the end of a stage. The stage flag comes out, top 10 gets it. If it breeds a caution, you throw the caution. If it doesn't breed a caution, everyone keeps racing and probably figures out how to get back single file and run for 30 more laps until they, come to the last 10 laps.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sorry.
It's really hard to say if they would work. I mean, I don't know. What's your thoughts on it, Levi?
Oh yeah, no, I'm the same way. I think you don't do away with them because it's kind of part of the game at this point. But like Norman said, maybe you could do a running stage, as in the green checker. It's still a green flag, right? We're still going green, but we're going to give points for that guy when he goes across there.
I guess we're gonna
Um,
find out in the true test because the road courses this year are gonna have. I know it's not the same as an oval, obviously, but it'll still be different. I'd like to see how it's gonna do this year.
Yeah, no, I think it is. Sorry, and I didn't mean to sign note. It's just that's something that really, really bugs me about the new way of racing. Now that I'm back to watching it, it frustrates me. I like the old style of long runs and that kind of stuff, and that's almost impossible now with the setup. So
Yeah, for sure. I guess just a quick run through of the race. So I think Willie B took home stage 1 win. Stage 2 went to Larson. Stage 3 was decent. It was the Hendrick's cars were up front for majority of the race, and then Harvick got this crazy. I guess he must have fixed his car or set up the way he wanted it to. Made a run for the lead, then he got shafted by a late race caution. Someone spun. I don't know who's in the 21 car right now, but he went for a spin, which gave us a late race restart. Which I think then Byron was able to get to the lead. Also, shout out to my boy Blaney, who had a 10th place car all race and pulled a second out of his ass in that final caution there, which was cool. Love to see that.
Yeah, super good at the those little short cautions they had there at the end. He made the most of it for sure. Good job.
I only caught the highlights of the race, but I saw Harvick in the lead when the caution came out. I forgot who it was in the highlights, but he spun, and they said they threw the caution early. I didn't really get into that, but then also I saw that during the spin his tire blew, so he was going to leave debris onto the track. So I think the caution was going to come out anyway. But I am kind of getting sick and tired of every race with freaking 20 laps to go. There's going to be a caution.
Yeah, it's almost like they're waiting on it, right?
Right.
I don't know if that's necessarily manipulated though, because I was thinking about that, but I still think those would be there though, regardless. I mean, now the green white checkers is another thing, but for example, when Harvick was leading, that caution actually truly did come out with like 5 to go or something like that. Someone did go for a spin, like it wasn't
11.
a debris caution or something.
It was 11 to go in the highlights.
Oh.
But yeah, I'm not saying that I'm sick and tired. I don't think NASCAR is like trying to throw a caution. What I'm getting sick and tired of is like a single car spin and we're getting a caution with 11 to go. Like, come on, guys, just finish the race.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
I know
nobody's
what you
getting
mean.
dicey. Nobody's getting dicey till right at the end. Like everybody's kind of riding around. There's some good racing going on, but I don't know. I that's the way I feel about it. It's like every race is a plate race now to me almost. There's a little bit of, getting after it during the race, but really it waits till the end and then they push.
You could say the stages are the reason for that too, I guess, because everybody just knows not to push till the end now. It's kind of like the new narrative. But at the same time, Like, I don't know. No, I don't really ever see the long run end to a race anymore as much. Like, I find 2 out of 3 races end with like a green, white, checkered, or at least a late race caution, like something with like less than 30 to go, sort of thing.
Yeah, and like I said, I didn't catch the race, Antonio. So help me out here. I'm assuming that Byron did not pit and Harvick did pit, and that's what put the Hendricks cars up front.
From what I understand, Harvick took 4 tires and the Hendrick cars took 2. Now 4 tires was pretty huge there, but it was the second caution, I think, is what screwed him because it just made less laps left.
Yeah. So and that second caution was caused by 2 incidents, right?
Yeah, I think Chastain and Denny got into each other. So Denny, I don't know, it almost looked like he just tried to hit Chastain, but I don't know if it was on purpose. It's hard to say. There'd be no reason for him to retaliate now of all times. I find it hard to believe it was intentional. But.
I didn't see that, but I saw Gibbs in the wall, I think, and then someone in Allmendinger got caught up and then hit Gibbs as he was stuck in the wall.
Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong thing. Maybe that was coming to the end of the.
I think you're thinking of what's coming to the end.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, no, there was something there because I know Gibbs was already in the wall. He would have been fine, and then some other cars slid up into him, and boom, pow, yeah. His car was done. Which I didn't say. I can't say I don't love to see, but
yeah, it was a weird incident from my view. I know Allmendinger. I can't think of the other guy's name, but Allmendinger and someone got caught up, and then they slid up into the wall, and Gibbs was there and put him back into the wall.
Well, and poor Allmendinger. I mean, dude's been, I think, a caution in every race so far. But I don't know if that's due to just not having very good equipment or if it's him himself being in the back. But I think that has to do with it on that part of it.
Yeah. I know on the Hendrick side of things, I know they've been kind of dominating lately. Did y'all see where I haven't read into it? I just saw a brief thing that something on their car has been pulled by NASCAR is being investigated.
Oh, yeah. So their car and somebody else's, it was all the Hendrick cars. All 4 Hendrick cars got their louvers, their hood louvers taken, pre-qualify, and they were brought back to wherever they're head for R&D or whatever on the NASCAR side. There's some special place that they take them to, in like North Carolina or something. Anyways, Justin Haley's was too for some reason, and Hendrick's kind of nervous about it because they didn't give them back. You know, they just told them to replace them, and they were going to use those to do some research. I don't know, man. Hendrick's always been known to push the envelope, right? I mean, with Jack and Alice and different people, so we'll see.
So from what I saw, it was supposedly they're saying, like, not they as in Hendrick, like what I've heard from sources is that supposedly the hood louvers were mismanufactured from wherever NASCAR gets them from. Because it would be odd that the exact same one came off of Haley's car because there's no affiliation there, like, whatsoever. So they were supposedly talking about that being a thing. I saw that from something fairly reputable, but I'm not too sure.
I also know that big businesses, when they're wanting to like single people out, but not single people out, they'll take all 4 Hendricks and then be like, and Haley's, we'll take theirs too. See, we're not trying to single out and slow down Hendrick.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, you never know.
I know this. Gordon in an interview this week, and I'm not quoting him, so do not quote me.
He's quoting him. He's quoting him.
I'm quoting him
on this, but on the lines. These parts are pretty much a spec part. They're manufactured outside of Hendricks. So he's saying we're cooperating fully with NASCAR and we don't understand, like, if it is a mismanufacture, it's not on our end. So we will see if that's Gordon just trying to play the PR game, or is that the actual truth?
I know Hendrick's known to cheat. I'd like to believe that it's actually a mismanufacture because it would be hard to believe. Like, what could you do with the hood louver? Like, I don't think there's much you could do to make that like, oh, we got an aero advantage. It added 1 pound of downforce. Like, I don't know.
I mean, the guys during the Daytona were putting their hands against the window and getting almost pole position, you know.
True.
So
I would put it this way. From what I heard Gordon say, as much as I'm not a Hendricks fan, I don't think there's anything here. Could there be something somewhere else because of their dominance this early in the season? I would hope, but I don't think this is it.
since when did Toto Wolff get into NASCAR?
Anywho,
It is true though. But like you said, I don't know how much of an effect it could have. But shoot, I mean, aerodynamics are aerodynamics, you know.
All right, well, I'm looking at Dave in the camera there, and he looks like he's over the NASCAR topic. So let's jump into some Formula Uno,
Bro,
because I see you over there. You're just sitting there all
yeah,
depressed.
it's just like, man, you know, cars going through.
He's like, I just work here, man.
It's
I just
dope.
work here, okay?
Wait, before we move on, let's talk about Joey Logano.
Okay.
Okay, sure. I wish you could make Dave cry some more.
Okay,
Yeah,
sure.
it's
I
like
mean,
It's a yellow ping pong ball just bouncing down through there this year.
he just wants to win, man.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The guy got some hair, and it's just a different experience.
I know. Dude, his hair looks pretty good though, not gonna lie.
I wouldn't say
No,
pretty
man.
good.
I almost think he looked better without the hair. I don't know, man.
He looks better as a 60-year-old man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, I don't know, man. He ain't very cute.
Oh, bro. No, he's got that full lock of jet black hair now. Man, I'm a Logano fan.
Oh yeah, I see what
He
you
loves
mean though.
you
His
some
hairline
Logano.
was pretty high before. Man.
I mean, it was bad.
It was bad. It was
But,
pretty
like,
bad.
Like usually, like LeBron James got hair plugs, and I was like, bro, that don't look good. Like that does not look good. But Logano got in this first interview this year. I was like, hey,
No,
nice
it
hair,
looks
bro.
too fake.
No, it doesn't. Google LeBron James hair. Just do
I
it.
remember seeing it. He used to wear a headband. He quit wearing a headband because
Oh, now he's got this like. I mean, he's perfect.
the hair's
Yeah,
there.
this photo I just sent is really bad. Brutal.
No, the only time I
Ooh.
really saw Logano was at Daytona
That's
500
brutal.
pre-race interview, and you could just tell that it was fake.
Ouch.
I'm gonna be real with you, man.
Isn't he like 30? Hold on.
Fact check that.
Is he like 30? He's no way he's 30.
No, he's like
Yeah.
our age.
No, not our age.
He's got to be
He's not
like
fo- he's not
34,
40.
35.
32. No, he's 32, born in 1990.
There you go. A 90 model.
He got the hair of a 47-year-old. Good for him.
No, I just think we
Better
all
than
have good
65.
hair. That's our problem.
I mean, it's still
Man,
black.
I would-
It's not silver. So I mean, like, it's genetics. I mean,
I'd be so fast if my hair was better.
we should have Joey's parents on the podcast.
You know what's bad is those images I sent too aren't even they aren't even like I didn't Google Joey Logano hair. I just Googled Joey Logano.
That's tough.
Horrible
That's-
pictures just are
that's
everywhere.
super tough, dude.
I'm not even kidding.
That's so tough.
Oh, this poor kid's gonna look at this in like 10 years and be like, oh man, that's why I gotta look forward to it.
Dang.
Hey, I have hair, but the gray is coming in.
Oh man.
I
Aren't
don't
you
wanna
like
talk about it.
34?
I'm 36.
Oh, you're pretty old.
Yeah.
Bunch of old guys in here.
That's all
It
right.
is what it is.
Experience.
But I got a head full of hair and a face full.
That's good. I'm glad you got something on your head.
That's
Anyways,
awesome.
all right. Let's go to F1. Let's go to F1. I know we got some
Yeah.
topics of discussion.
Saudi
Yeah, I want to get
Arabia.
into these changes.
Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Jeddah. I know we're not too excited about the racetrack itself, the circuit. But
I'm excited about racing because Formula One. Oh man, it's just Formula One.
yeah, Formula One's got it going on right now. It's really hard to match what's going on just because it was Red Bull, Mercedes, Red Bull, Mercedes, Red Bull, Mercedes. Ferrari tried to come in there a little bit, but Now it's more you got Aston Martin that's in the race. I mean, they're running not just for podiums. I think they're running for wins by the middle of the season if everything keeps going on track. Red Bull's strong, but I mean, what they brought in the offseason to now, if they can upgrade, is just crazy. Stroll, I was dogged on him a little bit last episode. The more I thought about it, kind of looked at things. If he is injured and got a 6th, like what can he do if he's 100%?
What a hero.
I'm telling you, man.
What a
y'all
hero.
were on him for no
what a
reason.
Canadian hero.
Dude,
I was. Mercedes, Toto Wolff come out. I don't know. He's officially said that it's the car's trash. That he says we went the wrong direction. I don't know what he called it. It's their look with no side pod was the wrong direction. And so they said that they're going to have a huge change on the W14 coming into this next race. It sounds like you're going to be able to see it. Not one of those where you got to get some diagram to see some barge board or something that's been changed or a fin here and there. But it's going to be a major change. So I'm really excited about that.
I wonder if he yells in German in the factory.
I think he tells people to check emails for sure. Like, you better check your emails. You working for Mercedes. I sent an email.
He's also Austrian, so he would yell Austrian.
He would just yell the word Austrian.
Yes.
He would just
Austrian!
No, but
yeah.
On that topic, I can't remember where.
The official
I don't have a
language
source.
of wait, hold on. The official language of Austria is German.
Oh, is it?
To be
There you
clear.
go.
I thought Austrians spoke Austrian. Okay. I'm from Alabama. I don't know.
That's okay. That's okay.
I've been to Austria. I've been to Austria, not Austria-Hungary, because I've been to Austria and Hungary, though.
Sure, you're not just hungry.
You've been there?
Gotta get him some gator.
I've been to the
I mean, you're
Czech
not yourself today.
Republic.
Have a gator bar.
I've been to Germany. I've been to Austria. I've been to Hungary.
Really?
So, yes.
You should have went to F1 then. Jeez.
You're way more
You're in all
cultured
those
than I am,
countries.
dude. I need to shut up.
I've been to like Oklahoma, been to Texas.
Amen,
No,
brother.
on all those, on Mercedes, I fact check me on this. I don't remember where my source was, but I remember reading or watching a video on Aston Martin is going to help Mercedes with their car development this year.
I hope so. I mean, really.
Try to
like
get them back in the field.
Hey, I said I wanted 4 to 6 drivers in the hunt. Right now, nobody's in the hunt. Red Bull, lights out. But, I mean, if you, like I said, if they can help them with that, and then you could get, the Mercedes in there, you've got a split between total top, you've got a little bit in the middle, and man, somebody needs to help McLaren.
Man. God help him.
I don't know. Like, what is Aston Martin getting from Mercedes for the, are they saying, hey, we'll help you with your car development this season, but give us a little bit more on our engine so we can actually go compete?
Yeah, I don't know. I think you get what you pay for, kind of thing. And as I don't know if y'all know, it's like, McLaren's just, they're kind of, they're the guys that are still like, playing like they can eat in a good restaurant, but they're like maxing out credit cards, kind of thing. It's really rough for McLaren. They're running out of money. It has been for the last couple of years. And I think you're going to get what you pay for with Mercedes. So do you come up with some more funds? Get a few more of those sponsors on that car somehow. Put some more screens on that car that flash different sponsors or something.
God, dude.
But I don't, and maybe it's Mercedes going, look, we're having issues too. Let's all pass this around. I don't know.
All right. It's going to be interesting. And I can't confirm that what I heard was true, because I said, I just remember I think I watched a YouTube video and and they said that, and it could be something that is completely false. Media coming on social media or YouTube or something like on one of those platforms, and now I'm just repeating BS.
Possibly.
That tends to happen a lot. Okay.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
want to go over
besides,
these. Sorry, go.
no, I was going to close out F1 from my side of it, anyways, because really, I mean, that's the story. We got to see the middle. The middle pack really hasn't. There's not a top runner. They're saying Alpine's pushing, but I mean, AlphaTauri can get their stuff together. McLaren had a real bad day. Norris looked better than that last year. I think we can all agree. I don't think everybody's made just leaps and bounds over him. He will be in the fight for the mid pack, but it's good to see going into it. Like I said, way too early to shoot anybody just out of it. Hopefully Ferrari could show up again.
Oh, that'd be
Well,
nice.
On that note, I have not watched the 9.5-minute video, but the media source on YouTube, The Race, released a video today called Signs of Chaos, Fresh Drama Inside Ferrari F1 Team Explained.
Ew.
Haven't watched it yet, but it popped up on my feed. So,
Great.
Yeah, I want
As if
to
we
look
don't
into
have
that
enough
for
of
sure.
that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, right.
and it all could be media bias and BS. Y'all know how that works in this series.
Yeah, for sure.
And
Yeah,
being a non-Ferrari fan, like I like to see them fail, but I also want competition at the top of the series. I don't want Red Bull to run away with it.
Yeah, I mean that's what when I said, preseason when we were doing our preview and stuff, I want more teams in it. I don't just want two. It'd be nice if there was 4 different teams, 6 to 8 drivers that are in the hunt for wins, on a regular weekend. Verstappen likes it too. He's a big competition guy. I don't think
Yeah.
he'd be upset that someone's racing for the lead. But
I'll put it to you this way. I would rather it be Mercedes or Aston Martin, but I don't think it can be. I think Ferrari's the next hope. And I don't want them to have this. I want them to be competitive against them so the series comes to an end. At the end of the year, I'm not going to be cheering for them. I'd be cheering for Red Bull. But, I don't want Red Bull to run away with it.
yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, keep in mind also that Stefano Domenicali is the president of Formula One. I mean, this dude, I don't care what you say about bias or whatever. I mean, he's the former Ferrari team principal. I mean, this dude is going to make sure that Ferrari stays around. And I mean, Formula One has always had incentive to have Ferrari in the game. So I hope though, because they deserve it, I think. And they've been, some strategy calls last year maybe argue against me. I think Leclerc deserves it. Let me put it that way. And they have incentive to make that kid special. I mean, especially there was some drama. Of course, we all rest in peace, Jules. Leclerc's story in Formula One is good. And he's a Ferrari driver for the next couple of years, right? He signed to 2026 or something. I'll verify that. But don't forget, point is, Stefano Domenicali is the president of Formula One. That's kind of all you need to know. Is that these guys are going to do good eventually. They have to.
Yeah, and I think Leclerc's a good choice to be in that car.
He's excellent.
Tim and Signs. Yeah. But yeah, further on F1 is the track changes. I haven't seen too much. If any of y'all know more about that one, there is a track change for this weekend.
Yeah, we got a lot changed actually. So, it'll be hard to describe to people who are just listening. I mean, obviously we don't have a video podcast, but for audio listeners and people like us in the recording stuff, if you look at the good old images in the topics of discussion channel, you can see. But for those who aren't here, so one of the biggest changes is at the good old high speed left-right sequence turns at turn 22 and 23. I believe this is the sequence of corners just after where Max and Lewis ran into each other in 2021. So they have reduced the speed about 50 kilometers an hour by adjusting the fence placement and adding a beveled curb. Changes have also been made to turn 14 and turn 20. They were really blind corners of the track. I think 14's a couple corners just before Mick had his big crash, if I'm wrong. Turn 20 is pretty much right about where Max and Lewis had their crash. So basically they have they just widened the line of sight more in those corners. Turn 14, so if you go to basically the very far left side of the track, if you're looking at a track map, the wall on the right-hand side of the track has been pushed back by about 7.5 meters, while the left-hand wall at turn 20 has been moved back by 5 meters. The walls have been pushed back in turns 8 and 10 as well in order to improve invisibility. They also did a lot with the beveled curbs. They added all of these at turns 4, 8, 10, 11, 17, and 23, while the new rumble lines have been placed at turns 3, 14, 19, 20, and 21 to deter drivers from running wide and slow them down. So overall, it looks like they're making a bunch of like safety improvements. I think they realized, like, I'm not gonna lie, we really, well, not necessarily we, but like everyone, I think, really bashed this track for its safety. And you know what? I won't lie, it's put on some really good racing the last 2 years it's been here. Like, is it my favorite track? No, but you know what? Like, it has put on some pretty outstanding racing. But I think these changes have made it like better. If you look at the images, and I stress you should probably Google this if you're listening audio wise. If you look at the changes, they look like good changes. I know the drivers complained a lot about visibility around some of these corners. Like, you got to think you're coming at like jet takeoff speeds, like 340 kilometers an hour around a corner. Like, some guy spun there and you can't see him. Like, he's done. You're done.
Yeah.
Like, somebody's gonna get hurt. So
Yeah.
I think these changes are great. The beveled curbs are a little scary, though. I don't know what those are going to do by preventing people from running wide. I'm just wondering if those could upset a car. I'll have to look up what a beveled curb is, but I don't know if those could upset a car. It's kind of just like, yeah, it's giving them a limit, but at the same time, it's like, is it a limit that's going to send them into the wall like Mick? Because that was a pretty big wreck. So I don't know. I'm going to look them up now.
Yeah, I was just going to add to that Lap Zero podcast Discord. Put it up in general. The 2 pictures that you put up, just showing us, so everybody can tune in and see that. Yeah, there's been some decent crashes here, but like you say, man, to jump into this one so soon in the season,
Yeah.
you don't think about it. It looks like a pretty plain track map, but this high speeds, I mean, yes, they've had preseason testing, but this has been some of the least amount of testing in these cars, and not, in the simulator or all that kind of stuff. So that might come into play. We'll just have to see. Like I said, it's so early in the season, it's hard to make any kind of stance on anything, but it is an exciting track just because of the speeds, for sure.
It's fast. And I mean, it's also, I guess it's cool to get 2 night races in a row, right?
Night races are cool. I like night races. Just adds another aspect to it. I don't know if the racers actually care.
Right.
I mean, you don't want to race these tracks during the day. If in the middle of summer would not be fun by any means, but I just, it cools the track down and stuff, being in the desert and whatnot.
Real quick, back to Mick. He crashed in qualifying hard, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pushing.
But
Yeah.
then he also crashed during the race that brought out a red flag because they had to repair the barriers, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. I think his crash in qualifying was out of turn 12. That's what sent him to the hospital. I want to say he crashed out of like 3 or 4 is where he went into the barrier and caused the red flag during the race.
I thought it was like turn 16.
I can guarantee I know the qualifying wreck was out of 12. I do not know where it was in the race.
I'm going to look it up.
So I was just trying to bring that information to the table. And that's what I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't also wrong on that information. I thought he brought out the red flag during the race too.
I thought he was out in the race because of his injury or because he got the hit in qualifying. Because from maybe I'm thinking of the wrong year, but I thought was it last year that he had the gigantic wreck and like
2022
put it
in
in the wall?
qualifying, he had a wreck. I just looked it up.
Yeah, and then he was out for the race. So I believe, don't quote me, this is just me looking at the track map
So
and
was it-
thinking that that's the corner. I thought it was 16, but it could be different. I
So
could
was
be
it
wrong.
2021 that he wrecked and brought out the red flag?
It must have been. I think he's had a bad time at this track. I'm pretty sure.
It's
Okay.
probably so bad. Mercedes probably told him to stay home. Don't even show up for the reserve driver spot.
Mick Schumacher crashed at turn 12 during Q2 in the Saudi Arabian GP qualifying, and he's physically fine, but it was airlifted to a hospital, and they just ran one car in the race. That was March 27th, 2022.
Okay, so
Am I
2021, he must have brought out the. I swear he brought out a red flag here, but don't quote me on that.
Well, the
Am I
big one
the
I always
only
go ahead.
one? Am I the only one looking at the track map and turn 11 and turn 12 don't make sense? Like, how are those two turns? That's literally, it just curves from turn 10.
Is there a wiggle we're not seeing in there?
I don't know. I don't understand.
And Norman, I think you're right. December. Yes. That is correct. The incident brought out a safety car with Lewis Hamilton and Bottas diving into the pits from P1 and P2. This was December 2021. 5th of December 2021, yeah. Yeah, Schumacher crash brings out a red flag in Saudi Arabia.
All right. Just wrong year.
The wreck I always think of when you think of Mick is in Monaco, where the car just broke in half. I don't know if y'all remember that.
Yeah.
That's the one that always comes to mind when I start hearing it. And then
Man,
it's
he
hard
took
for
some
me to
hits,
picture
didn't he?
any other one. What's that now?
He took some hits. He was sending it.
Yeah. Drive to Survive, man. You just don't know how much of that you believe that was going on. It seems like from there that they were really pushing him to do better than Mag. And I'm sure they were. I mean, the radios they play with a lot on Drive to Survive to make it sound like they're just every lap hitting this guy with information and say, push, every corner. But I don't think they were doing that. But I think there was a push, even in his own mind, maybe to do better than he was doing last year and just didn't get it done. And like you said, just pushed too far. So
yeah, he was under a lot of pressure. I think that is the one thing I don't like about Drive to Survive is they always like get these fake radio calls in there. Like they're like Mick spins and is going into the wall and they throw in a curse word. I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm like, he definitely had time to hit the hot mic. I'm like, all right, man.
Let's not save the car. Let's cuss into the mic. Oh crap! Goosh.
Yeah, literally. I was watching that episode actually. I still haven't finished it. I'm probably one of the only people. I'm on episode like 6 or 7 or something. I'm on the Haas episode, but I'm just like, oh my god, man! Like, there's no way he was doing that.
No, it's good for the sport, right? That we've got that going on with the Drive to Survive. Has brought so many people to it, and I'm happy for that. But yeah, some of it, man, just like you said, as a race car, even on iRacing, and we've watched racing our whole lives and know that that's not something you do while you're losing the car. I forget saving it. I got to punch this button, cuss real quick, and then nope, didn't get it saved.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like Mick Schumacher's doing his flying lap. Okay, Mick, we need to push. So he starts driving all hard, and then he bends it, and then we see him crash 4 separate times at 4 different tracks, and it's just like, okay,
crush. Yeah.
Sorry, guys. It's like I don't think that's what happened, man. But okay. Dad, I wish you were here. Anyways, Dave would have laughed at that one. Too bad he just put his headphones back on.
I'm back. What are we talking about, bros?
I was making fun of Drive to Survive for how they throw in the random audio clips and how they were saying that Mick was cursing right as he was going into the wall at Saudi Arabia, and I was like, yeah, okay, he had time to just click the hot mic.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
So, we ready to get into some Sebring?
Heck yeah. I actually love this track.
It's a fun track, and we got a doubleheader we got a major header this weekend, but 2 major events. You got the 12 hours of Sebring, but WEC also kicks off their series with the, I want to call it the 1200 kilometer of Sebring. So it's not a timed race, it's a distance race. It's the only race that WEC will run distance. But WEC has actually been on the track this weekend already, or this week already, for their prologue and their preseason testing. So
yeah. So how does that run 2 different series at the same track? Like it just back-to-back weeks? Is that so as soon as one's leaving, one will be coming in, or?
So the 12 hours will be run Saturday, and then the WEC will run their 1200 kilometer race on Sunday.
So maybe I'm missing it. I've never been to Sebring. I've never seen anything but the track, you know what I mean, on TV and then on iRacing. Like, is that a pretty big facility? Can they, I guess there's going to be a lot of trucks and crews and things going on. I guess my question, like, how does that all fit in for a back-to-back weekend like that?
Well, IMSA brings a crowd with them anyway. So you're really just adding in the WEC series. I don't know how they do it. I'll put it to you this way. You also got to remember, like, Cadillac runs WEC too. So Cadillac is only running 1 car Saturday and running 1 car on Sunday.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
I'm seeing, Penske is running 2 cars Sunday. I do not know. I'm assuming they're running 1 car Saturday, and they're running. I will have to look more into that. So it looks like we only have 37 WEC or WEC cars that are running, that ran in the testing session. I got their times pulled up right now. Which one of the cars did not even complete a lap, which was one of the Ferraris in the LMDH class for this series.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, that would be, I mean, so it's another one of those weekends that if you're an endurance fan and you're looking to go to a race, it wouldn't be a bad one.
No, it wouldn't be.
A lot of teams, a lot of different cars.
It's like you're getting almost a 24-hour race, but split up into 2 races.
Yeah. So 1200, how long is that going to take them? Is it about a 12-hour, or do you know?
I would assume it would be more like an 8-hour.
Yeah. I'm just curious.
Don't quote me on that. I always forget about it. It's I think the 3rd year they've done it, and I always forget about it, and I watch the 12 hours, and then Sunday I just totally forget that there's another race because it's not been there. But if we want to get into this to talk about the preseason testing for the WEC, right now the Toyotas have topped the timing charts, both their cars, first and second. They're about 10th off of each other's pace. Cadillac's car came in second, which I think we talked about this at the 24, that Cadillac looked pretty strong to do something in WEC because of the experience they've had. But they're almost 7/10 off Toyota's pace.
They're so strong.
Yeah, but that's a lot of pace at Sebring. Like, if that's Le Mans, I get it. But Sebring's what? A 3-mile track?
Yeah.
And then Ferrari, which shows their strength. Ferrari comes in, one of their cars comes in 4th, which one of their cars did not turn a lap during the testing. And then the Porsche Penske's claim 5th and 6th.
Ooh.
But they're a 1.5 off Toyota's pace. And then, go ahead.
Oh, just in endurance racing, a 1.5, it's like, that's going to add up to so much time real fast if they can't close that gap.
But you also have to look at this as like F1. did Toyota run qualifying setup and did Porsche run race setups?
Yeah, you can't take much from it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't know the details. Yeah.
And the difference is they have open qualifying in the WEC, meaning that you have like 30 minutes to complete your best lap. And don't quote me on the time limit, but we'll see about that. Peugeot came in 7th and 9th. They actually had I think it's an LMP2 split their team.
Wow.
So they look pretty far off the pace.
That's what you get for not running a rear spoiler.
Yeah, I was going to say, which isn't shocking with them all using underbody downforce on a track this rough. So I would have figured they would struggle.
Yeah, because that is one thing. Sebring is a rough track.
I guess, like, why not do rear downforce? Why not rely on a spoiler? Like, what's the weight? I mean, it can't be, right? Like, what are they just trying to be cool? I don't know.
They're just trying to go about it a different way.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like Mercedes in the F1 with the no side pods. Everybody else had side pods but them, you know? It didn't work for them, but in their case, they might have done wind tunnel testing and figured out the back wing had more drag and they could get more downforce from the floor.
Is there a concern
on an airport runway, you know?
Is there a concern though with like hitting a bump and just losing every single bit of downforce you have without the rear wing though? Because I know the rear wing will still help you at least on a bump.
Okay, last corner at Sebring and the first corner at Sebring. I mean, those are two that are like,
Sebring especially too, right? It's so bumpy.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, you're on the edge and bouncing. Like you're trying to get back in the gas on the last turn. And when you're going into turn 1, that's probably to me, that's the hardest turn on the whole track to get right. Yeah, you can kind of fumble through it, but when you get it right, you save so much time through there. But yet again, it's bouncy. And like you said, I mean, I think what you're saying, you could just completely lose it if it bounces up high enough and loses the suction, on the ground.
Well, I'd be curious to see how much it actually loses, like on a bump, like the downforce. I don't know how they measure it. I think it's pounds of downforce. I'd be curious on like a little bump versus a minor one versus a major one, like to see how much downforce it truly does lose. Obviously, it doesn't lose everything, but
from my understanding, and I'll give you this, their fastest car versus Porsche's slowest car is almost 0.4 off the pace at Sebring. So these cars are designed to have a limit of downforce they can create. I don't know if it's the wind tunnel, but they can only create so much downforce. And I would assume they would get this number in a wind tunnel. So yes, as engineers, it's just testing. It doesn't mean it's gonna hand over to real world, because it doesn't have bumps, it doesn't have grooves, it doesn't have camber, it has none of that. It's all flat. So they designed their car to get all their downforce by the under bodywork of the car, which we just talked about. Not going to work at Sebring.
Yeah.
I do have to say, I think it would work better at Le Mans than it would at Sebring. And they're only 0.4 off of Porsche at Sebring. So can they gain a couple of tenths at Le Mans? They're almost a second off Ferrari at Sebring.
That's true. Like, that will be negated at a very long straight like Le Mans.
Yes.
Because if you stay off the crown and you stay on that cambered right or left side of the straight, you're going to effectively take full advantage of that wind tunnel effect, right?
Right. not to try to change subjects, I want to stay on this subject, but in the early 90s, NASCAR made their spoilers where they were. They actually created zero downforce on the rear wheels, meaning that you could literally walk up to the car at speed of 195 miles an hour, and a normal human being could lift that car off the ground if you're able to like stay behind that car.
That's not good.
Yeah. That's what they dealt with in the early 90s, running these cars at restrictor plate tracks. That's why they created the restrictor plate, because they could not create downforce to keep these cars on the ground.
That's what's interesting about being a racing fan in the 2020s and eventually 2030s and 2040s is that we're now hitting the limit of not engineering, but physics. We're hitting the limit of air, right? Air is a major problem. And you look at like Bugatti, right? Bugatti thought they had it figured out. They even manufactured tires that had special interior walls and things to negate the centrifugal force of rubber, trying to separate the tire from the rim, right? At like 300 plus miles an hour. The fact is that unless you're on a different planet than Earth and you want to keep your rubber to the road, you can't go faster than about 300-ish miles an hour before stuff just stops working. But it makes me wonder, just like Mercedes in the 80s, that rhymed, what is the limit, and do we find the limit physically and mechanically by flipping a car into the trees at the straight at Le Mans? That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah, I remember when that happened. It was pretty scary.
Yeah.
And then they shut their other car. Yeah, they shut the other car down because they were so scared of it. And then on top of that, it was a crazy thing. They put them through the wind tunnel and put 2 little wings on the front and thought that would fix it.
That's what I mean, is like wind tunnel testing is great, but there's this weird thing that humans don't get, and that's that we don't totally understand physics.
I think we also got to look at it this way. When's the point you hit the limit of a driver?
That's true too.
Like, you've got to realize a human body can only withstand so many G's.
That's really
so. When's the point when a car can, and we can design a car now to take a turn that a human cannot withstand.
That's right.
So how do you design that into racing rules?
Right. Like, what's the?
I think if you gave the top engineers in this world, they could design a artificial intelligence car to run a lap around, we'll say Spa, that no human could ever run.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show, like, if you see somebody who's not used to F1, it's few and far between, but there has been some, celebrities or people who do interviews and stuff like that jump in an F1 car, and the first time they hit the brakes and their helmet, like, almost smacks the steering wheel because they're just not used to it. The videos are crazy, and that's what everybody always talks about is the stopping force of an F1 car. It's just, I'm almost where Dave was saying with some kind of hook to the helmet type thing, like the Oz device to keep your head in place,
Have you watched their exercise wedgerums? How many neck exercises those guys have to do to be able to just hold their head on their shoulders?
Yeah. Crazy.
It's amazing. But not to diverge off onto downforce, to get back to what we got going on this weekend. I think that was a good stint there onto what racing has to come in downforce, but I really want to get into the IMSA side of Sebring too. And major news breaking this week with Meyer-Shank Racing was turned in by Honda or Acura, because that's who is technically their provider, but it's also Honda Performance Development. After Daytona turned in that Meyer-Shank Racing was messing with the numbers through the ECU of their tire pressures. And it's not technically the ECU, but the computer generated tire numbers that everyone else could be able to see.
Man, I'm an MSR fan. Like I talked about in the I think it was episode 2 or 3. Anyway, the penalty for this in IMSA is a drive-through penalty. Unfortunately, that would have decided the race at this year's 24 Hours of Daytona. I don't know, man. I held my MSR team shirt in my hand today.
So to get more into this, I've read the Car and Driver article on this. First off, what they did technically was they used the computer to say, I don't know what number they had to run by Michelin's tire pressure numbers, but we're going to say arbitrarily 21 PSI. They would run 15 and make the computer read that they were running 21, which would give them better acceleration out of the turns because it's going to create more grip. It's going to create more tire wear, but creates more grip. Running a lower tire pressure is where they're going to gain their advantage. But their penalty is steep. They get to keep the 24-hour victory. And what's shocking is Wayne Taylor is not challenging this, which is also an Acura team. They're fine with it. I think if Ganassi Cadillac would have finished second, I think he would have seen a little bit more push to challenge them to take the win from them. They are getting 200 points deducted from their season. They're stripped of 200 points of the 350 they've earned so far. The team and drivers are also getting fined $50,000 in prize money. And then Meyer-Shank, the owner, is getting a probation put on them. And then I think who's their lead engineer? I want to say their lead engineer is getting, this is shocking. This is the biggest hit. Indefinitely suspended.
Whoa.
I mean, he must have been at fault completely, then, is what they're thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, there's cheating in motorsport.
Hey, real quick.
Like,
Ray McCaffrey is indefinitely suspended and has lost his IMSA certifications.
yeah, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, cheating has been around forever. Like, if you're not cheating, you're not trying in motorsport. Like, if there's any way you can bend the rules, bend them. But if you're going in the computer software and you're fudging tire pressure numbers, man, that's cheating. You know what I mean? Like, that's straight up cheating. Like, if you want to put a slide bar in your trunk in NASCAR because when you hit the corners, like, you get more whatever, like, that's creative. But just going in a computer and altering numbers, that's cheating, unfortunately, in my head. Like,
I mean, it's just bold-faced, right? Like,
that's
not
blatant cheating. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to explain it.
I want to put it to you. I want to put it out there this way. So, Acura or Honda, however you look at it, both the same development company, have two cars running by two different teams, right?
Yeah.
What if this is Penske Porsche? Does Porsche turn in Penske?
Oh yeah. Okay. I know what you mean.
Like Honda turned their own team in.
It must be bad, right?
Yeah. Like, whoa. There's a major discrepancy in the computer data that we're reading right now. We're turning you in.
And I was there. They were dominant. That watching them run was like, there's your winner.
Well,
but
from what I saw and what I would have said going into the weekend, I would have given Wayne Taylor over Meyer-Shank in this race. Like, if there's going to be an Acura to win, it's going to be Wayne Taylor.
If you're looking at the driver lineup, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. But my question goes back, and I want to get all y'all's opinion. Is it because Honda was like, wait, we run two teams? We're turning them in? Or do you think Porsche would turn in Penske?
What was the benefit of Honda turning in this team under Honda Racing Development or HRD or whatever they call themselves? What was the benefit? Like, why would they do that?
Because they're running because Wayne Taylor and Meyer-Shank are two different teams. So now they've got a team cheating to beat another team of their own performance.
And Honda just like wasn't cool with it.
Yeah. I don't know. Like that, those are the details that we're waiting on. All it says is after the race, Honda Performance Development, HPD, which works closely with teams that run the top class Acura GTP racing cars, noticed a discrepancy in the number 60s data and launched an investigation. They discovered that Meyer-Shank Racing had made intentional software offsets in the tire pressures that were reported by the monitoring system. Basically, the team was artificially inflating the tire pressure data so the numbers sent to IMSA were higher than the pressures that were actually run.
That's
this is
cheating.
all from caranddriver.com, published on March 9th of 2023.
So should they be stripped of their Daytona 2023 Rolex 24 championship?
IMSA did not strip them.
But should they be?
They were stripped just 200 points of the 305 they earned.
So what I took from that, though, is the reason they haven't stripped them of anything, I mean, it's almost obvious. They blame that one guy.
Yes.
It almost sounds like the
What a
team
jerk.
didn't know, but you got to slap him on the wrist, the team, so to speak. But this guy was the one. He knew what he was doing. He was the problem.
What a jerk, dude. Seriously.
I think so. Mike Shank has been put on probation until June 30th. Ryan McCaffrey has been indefinitely suspended. I think he's the head of this. It's a touchy situation in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, no, seriously.
It's just a rough one because it's a bold-faced cheat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, straight up.
It
And
is.
that's what. So NASCAR back in the day. Go back to NASCAR. I know, but you said if you're not cheating, you're not trying. Michael Waltrip's team figured out that they dent right in front of the rear fender, that they could actually gain a little bit of rotation. Would lock the back end of the car down. So their jackman during the race, when they did the first pit stop, he'd give it a little oof knee to the side, dent it in a little bit, and he knew exactly where to do it. They got caught on camera. And so that was more one of those, they've been doing it. But everybody did little things, you know what I mean? Little things like that. It wasn't, how did he know he's precisely going to get his knee at the exact, you know what I mean? It's kind of like throwing a wrench at it and hoping that it gets fixed kind of thing. Where this is specifically going into and manipulating computer data. If I'm hearing it right, you know.
To go on what you're talking about, Levi, you're not going to know if you're going to get the perfect dent every time. You're just going to get close enough to add something. Some races you might get better. Some races you might not be as good. There's no failing at this manipulation that Meyer-Shank did.
Yeah.
Like this is, and like I said, I don't know the numbers. I have not found the numbers, but this is like running your tire pressures at 15 and telling you that they're 21. And IMSA thought the whole race they were running great, or Michelin thought they were running great tire pressures. And it took their own engine manufacturer to turn them in.
Crazy. That's the worst part of it. Like, they had to have talked about it as a group before they did it.
Right?
They might have, and they might just, it might be like this is going to sound cruel, but a gang ship where they did talk about everyone was on board, and now they're just going to throw this one engineer under the bus and let him go.
Yeah, maybe it was a best case scenario kind of thing.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. You see you later. Bye-bye. And you take the fall for this. Hey, they could still be paying him. We don't know.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, we will have to see.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, I think this is an ongoing conversation. I mean,
We'll see how they do this weekend at the 12 Hours of Sebring.
Right. It reminds me of Ferrari's dominance. Well, quote unquote dominance when they got busted for bypassing the fuel pump sensor. I don't know if you heard of that, right?
Oh yeah.
I heard about it.
Yeah. So like they're tricky. But it makes me wonder if MSR is going to continue their dominance because I mean these guys are dominant. I mean they're really good. I mean their drivers are good.
Yeah, I think it goes further than tire data manipulation. I think the
Right.
team's pretty good.
It has to. Like
But like we said, Wayne Taylor looks like they have a better driver lineup, though. So if they're in the exact same car, Wayne Taylor should be right there with them.
but okay, so is Hartley driving the Toyota? Is he doing both? He is, right?
Give me 2 seconds. Y'all keep talking. I'll tell you. Yeah. Brandon Hartley is in the Toyota at Sebring.
Man, this guy.
I think endurance racing is his thing, though.
If you look at his resume, this dude has won everything. I mean, holy crap. This guy.
But going back to the numbers, like, I don't think anyone has anything for him this year. Like, to their preseason testing with Toyota being that close to each other, and your next closest car is Cadillac, and that's Westbrook, Lynn, and Berber. I can't pronounce his name. But they're still a half a second off of Toyota. I don't know.
I mean, Toyota's been so dominant in WEC.
From a guy that's followed WEC for probably, longer than I've followed F1. Toyota has struggled. And when Porsche and Acura left WEC and Toyota started winning, people gave them a lot of crap. I think if Toyota wins this year and shows dominance, I think it erases everything that people have ever said about them.
Yeah, they're crazy good. I mean, like, you can't deny.
And then they come out and show pace in their preseason testing.
The last WEC race I went to was 2019, and Toyota won that one. So, I mean, like, these guys, they're crazy good.
They're good, and they've caught a lot of flack from dominating finally when the top dogs left, and now the top dogs are back, and they's like, all right, well, let's go race, and now we've got the advantage on y'all. So we'll see over the next few years. If Toyota dominates this year and dominates next year, I think they solidify themselves as the races before that are as fully accountable than any other year. Now, if they come in this year and start to dominate and then fall off, and you see Ferrari and Porsche and Cadillac come over the top of them, we'll see at Le Mans.
Yeah.
Then we can start asking questions about, was Toyota really there, or were they running in a weak league?
Word.
As we should. It's racing.
Before we get into Formula One again, and we're on the Sebring case, I want to do a quick touch because it's personal to me. The Porsche Deluxe Carrera Cup North America kicks off this week on Thursday in Sebring. And I'll hope to post some pictures here in the Discord later. But yesterday I was at the Racing for Children's car reveal. And they will be running Thursday at 9:55 a.m. Eastern and 6:15 p.m. Eastern at Sebring. They are the defending champions of the series. And their two cars are running this year, topped the practice so far at Sebring last week. And just want to give them a shout out to hope that they have a great season. I think after Sebring, we'll see them at Long Beach with the Indy cars. And I'm hoping to see them at Barber this season too.
Check your local provider.
It's all on YouTube.
Very
It's
cool.
not sponsored, we promise.
So we should keep up with the in it, bin it, or win it for Formula One.
I went first last time. Somebody else got to go first, but I'm telling you right now, I got some crazy picks.
Okay, I'll go first. In it, Carlos Sainz. Man, they obviously have it, right? Like they got the formula, they just can't deploy it properly. You can't see my room, but I have a lot of Ferrari stuff in here. I think that Leclerc, I can't say win it, unfortunately. I think Red Bull's going to take this one. Gosh, man, I wish I could say something different. I don't know. They're fast. They're quick. Bennett, I think that AlphaTauri is going to take a bit of a poo here. I think that we'll see a lot of problems. I think that I would like to see Nick do well, but overall, I don't know why. Somewhere in my heart of hearts, I just feel like AlphaTauri is going to suffer at this track, personally, especially Sonoda. I mean, we haven't been racing here long, but a track like this takes a lot of technical patience, I guess is the word I'm looking for. And I think of all the drivers, that guy's got the least amount. So that's my pick. In it, Sainz, win it, Verstappen, unfortunately, and Bennett. Let's call AlphaTauri as a team.
Antonio, let's hear it.
It's so hard to say, I guess, after one round, but what's the order we doing? In it, win it, bin it, or bin it, win it?
You pick.
All right, well, in it, I think it's hard to say to not pick Red Bull, obviously. So I'm gonna go with a Ferrari car. I'm gonna go with Sainz being in it. Win it. I think it's just you gotta go with Verstappen. Like it's hard for him to not win it. We saw his qualifying pace last year. He's obviously got speed here, regardless of the car being nuts. So for Bennett, I'm probably going to go with Leclerc, honestly. I just think he's going to have some sort of issue, whether it's him putting it in the wall himself or an engine blowing. The guy's got no luck. I'm a ride the no luck train out, even though he's my man.
It's rough. I guess I would say I'm going to go with Bennett first. I'm kind of on that AlphaTauri train. They did not look good whatsoever. Yuki specifically, I think, is going to have issues, and it's not just going to be like a mechanical issue. I think he's literally probably going to. There's a lot of pressure on him this year, and I think he's going to lose it. To be in it, I think kind of in it would be, like driver of the day, so to speak. I think Pierre Gasly is really going to show up. He did really good. Went from the back of the pack, I think, to 9th last time. So if he can get a decent qualifying, I think he's going to show us something. I don't really, so to speak, think in it for the race as in a win or a podium. But I think he's going to really show us something. That was some major speed he had to come up through the pack like that. Then win it. I mean, you can't not go with Red Bull right now. I mean, it's a very boring pick, but it is the truth. Max at the top. So that's my 3 picks. Norman.
All right. I'm going to start off with the boring one. The win it. It's Max. I don't know who. I don't even think his own teammate can compete with him right now. I think he's a better driver in the same car, so he's going to be the best on the track. In it, I don't want to be too easy, so I'm going to go with Lance Stroll. I think Aston Martin is for real. I want to pick Alonso, but I think from Bahrain, we know that Alonso is there. So I'm going to say Lance Stroll doesn't outperform Alonso, but he outperforms his last race because he's healthier. And then Bennett, I'm having a hard time not saying Yuki. I just don't. I think that's just an AlphaTauri agreement. So I'm going to say Yuki.
Wow. Universal
Yuki.
AlphaTauri hate.
You know,
I'm telling you, if that boy comes out and like thrashes, we're all gonna look like idiots.
I will say, I'm going to go like on a thin branch. Bennett, Alex Albon.
Ouch.
I don't think he performs as well as he did at Bahrain. But I don't see him wrecking.
The blonde hair, isn't it?
I think Logan beats him this weekend.
That would be great.
I'll be all for it. I mean, nothing against Albon. Just go Logan.
Yeah.
Go Team Logan.
It's when I have these gut feelings, if I don't announce them, they happen. But when I announce them, they end up flopping. So I probably just jinx Logan. So
Good job, Norman.
Erica, I'll take it, man.
But that's where I
Sorry,
am
Tony.
on everything.
Well, that would be a good one.
I mean, that's gonna wrap us up for the podcast, though. I think I got to go order some Gator and get some food.
Gator bites. Gator bites.
That's got to be getting old by now.
I know you've been eating Gator like once a week, bro.
Like, damn, man.
It's that good, man. Until you try it. Once you go Gator, you don't go back.
Once you go dinosaur, you're never